I just found out my girlfriend is lying about being on a trip. Is there any hope? Or am I cooked? My girlfriend Amy and I went on our first date around 1.5 years ago, took things slowly while being exclusive, and have been officially dating 1 year. Overall, the relationship has been pretty good, minus some small hiccups in communication that she chalks up to her neurodivergence. Amy isn't great with texting, which I thought was a red flag at first until I found out she's like that with almost everyone, most of her friends and family included. To give a little background, Amy and a few of her girlfriends go to this conference a few states over twice per year. It's a 2-day event, which they usually turn into a 5-day vacation because it requires a flight and hotel and is in a nice city. Amy's friend group is typically very active on social media during these trips, posting on their Instagram story during all points, flights, conference, beach, etc. This weekend was supposed to be their third time attending. Amy and her friends have had their flights and hotels booked for a few months, confirmed by some of their posts on social media, being excited about having everything booked. Unfortunately, the conference was canceled, but they already booked everything, so they decided to still enjoy a vacation. My girlfriend and I had a date night last weekend. She was telling me how excited she was for her trip. All was good, but at the end of the date, I caught a glimpse of Amy's phone. She was on her airline app, and it looked like she was reading cancellation policies. We had a long day, and I was tired and felt like I was snooping/being nosy, so I didn't say anything. During the week, I asked Amy to hang out the day before the flight, emphasizing that I wanted to see her before her trip. Unfortunately, she was meeting up with her group of coworker friends, so she couldn't. No worries. The morning of her flight, I texted her wishing her a safe flight and happy trip, and she liked my message. We haven't talked since. As I said, she's not a big texter, so we usually don't text much besides planning dates and in emergencies. I figured she was on her trip, so I haven't texted to plan a date. Now on to the meat of the issue. Amy is now supposed to be a few days into her trip, and I noticed none of her friends were posting on Instagram. I thought that was weird because they usually post a lot, but I shrugged it off. That was until tonight. Amy started posting videos of her at a show. It looked fun, and I didn't think twice about it, until the ending, where the show host called out, "Thank you," and then the name of the major city nearby where we live, approximately 30-minute drive. I looked up the name of the show, and of course, it was in that nearby city this weekend, meaning she wasn't on that vacation after all, and never thought to say anything to me about it. I did a little snooping on Venmo and found out that over 2 weeks ago, Amy's friend paid her back the money that Amy had sent her for the hotel and car rental. So she's known the trip was canceled for 2 weeks and hasn't said anything to me every time I brought it up. Where do I go from here? I feel like I'm suddenly spiraling, going crazy, overthinking everything lately to see if I've missed any signs. I've already started assuming the worst, and I'm panicking. I'm out of town for the weekend, and I feel like this has totally thrown off my trip. Is this worth a conversation, or is the relationship already over? Is there any reason she would have not said something by now? Even if she tells me the trip was canceled right when I see her before I confront her, would that still justify not telling me until after the trip? Please, any advice is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Her best friend just uploaded a picture of them together during the show, so I know she wasn't there with some other guy, but that doesn't explain the lying. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "I don't see any justification for lying to your face, repeatedly. Aren't you angry? That's not okay." The original poster replied, "Yeah, of course I am. Sorry if that didn't come across. I tried to stay level-headed in the post and just lay out the facts. I'm kind of going through the stages of grief right now, anger being one of them." Another commenter suggested, "Sure seems like she pretended the trip was happening to do something else with someone else. That's your worst-case assumption, right? If so, what's her plan? Keep pretending she went? Keep you in the dark? Hope no friend outs her? Pretty stupid. If she's seeing someone else, she should just dump you." The original poster responded, "Yeah, that's my assumption. I don't really see any other reason why she would have pretended the trip was still planned. Even if I misunderstood the timeline of the trip getting canceled, like if that Venmo payment was for something else, I'd assume she would have told me when I texted her the morning of her flight." Then another commenter asked, "I take it she wants to get caught since she's posting the videos? Or is she just dumb?" The original poster replied, "I considered that maybe she's trying to get me to dump her, which would make sense. But she's been talking about celebrating my birthday soon, planning a getaway trip together, etc. It'd be weird that she's trying to put in effort and plan future things while wanting to get dumped. But I don't know. Everything's so confusing." The same commenter later added, "Very confusing. I wish I could help you. The only thing to say is to talk to her when you see her again, but can you trust anything she tells you? Clearly she's deceitful. I've no idea how to move forward with this. Sorry." The original poster replied, Yeah, I have no idea if I'll be able to trust any of what she says. I don't really know what help I'm looking for anymore here. I guess I was just praying there's some perspective I wasn't seeing. Thanks for your input anyways. Really appreciate it. Now for the 2-week update. Hey everyone, I had some DMs asking for an update, so here it is. To quickly summarize my last post. A few weeks back, my girlfriend was supposed to go on a trip a few states away to go to a conference. I came to find out that the conference was canceled and she didn't actually go and never even bothered to tell me. She lied by omission about it by not telling me when I texted her to have a good flight. I found out she didn't go because her best friend posted a picture of them at a show in our local nearby city. So here we are, almost a month later. I was a wreck and spiraling these past few weeks, and after being together for almost 2 years, I was too panicked to reach out and ask to see her. During the 3 weeks since her planned trip, she hasn't reached out once to me. That was until yesterday, when she casually reached out like we hadn't just ignored each other for 3 weeks and asked to see a movie. So I just finally saw her tonight. In the car, I asked about her trip. Her facial response was really weird, like she got caught off guard. I'm guessing she was expecting me to forget about it after a few weeks of not seeing her. She just said it was okay, which instantly confirmed my suspicions. I asked her what she had done, and she said she went to that conference one day, which, as I said in my last post, was canceled, and went to a show after before returning home the day after I made my original post. I asked her which, and she claimed the show that was in our local city. I was driving at the time, and it was dark out, so I waited to confront her as I didn't want to get emotional and endanger us. I confronted her for lying about the trip, doubling down and lying about the conference, and tripling down to lie about the show. Her immediate response was to start deflecting, saying that if this is making me upset, to imagine how she felt that her conference and trip were canceled. She said how she was so heartbroken and upset that the conference was canceled, which was canceled 5 weeks ago, that she didn't want to talk about it. She kept saying that she doesn't owe it to me or anybody else to tell us about her business and what's going on in her life. I, of course, called her out for gaslighting me, to which her response was that she was not gaslighting me. Kind of ironic, I guess. When I talked about how it made me feel and that she damaged my trust for her, she again tried to belittle my feelings by rolling her eyes and saying that it was only a show. This conversation ended up opening to a much bigger issue in our relationship that I didn't mention in my last post. Generally, Amy treated me really poorly throughout the relationship. She was hot and cold, put zero effort into communication, and it never felt like she made me a priority. She'd give me zero affection or compliments despite drooling and crushing over male celebrities all day. She's made little effort to connect me and her family and friends. We've talked about all of this a few times now. She would always say she was overwhelmed with some new excuse and promise it would get better. I would cave in and agree to work through things. As expected, things never got better. This time was the same, where she blamed a new job for being overwhelmed, and that's why she's been so distant. But this time was different. I guess her blatant lie to my face and your guys' comments in the back of my mind gave me power to put my foot down. I broke up with her then and there. She kept begging me for one more chance, to think on it for a few days, that she cares about me and didn't intend to hurt me, all that nonsense. But the whole time, I was the one bawling, and there wasn't a tear on her face. It really broke my heart ending things, but I've also really grown to hate myself for putting up with her treatment for so long. I'm hurting a lot right now, and I'm scared to get back into the dating world after 2 years of aging and some weight gain. I really loved her with every bit of my heart, and I'm terrified to picture my life without her. I really want to call her up and give her one final chance to get things right, but I know I'd never forgive myself if she didn't change and broke my heart again. I'm hurting bad, and I could really use some words of encouragement right now. Thank you all. Now for a few comments. AdCreative8850 said, "Baby, you don't deserve this. Don't let this beast of a woman back into your life. The day is young, and your youth has just begun. There are so many beautiful faces and souls you have yet to meet. There are so many opportunities that await you, and the future only asks that you let go of your past." Bloof Ponder Smudge commented, "I know that you're hurting right now, but I have to say this. Her being gone is a positive, not a negative. Don't be afraid to take some time for yourself before diving back into the dating pool." Assistance OK3669 added, "You're only 27. Everyone ages. Weight gain. The gym is a great outlet for frustrations as well as a motivator. You dodged a bullet. You were able to stand up for yourself and put your foot down when she tried to gaslight you into believing that you were in any way, shape, or form guilty. That is the first leap into a great direction." Plain Adhesiveness 29 shared, "Yeah, man, I'm 38, about to be 39. Met my now wife after separating from my ex at 33 and had kids at 35. You aren't even close to aged. Join a gym, start a fitness routine, and go out into the world. You don't need to start dating, and in fact, it sounds like you could use time to yourself first since you are having these feelings of low self-esteem. You deserve someone who shows you the same affection you give them. Don't settle for less. Bisquick Ninja said, "Yep, I met my partner at 46, a few years ago. There is always time. It may not be exactly what you want, but it will be what you may need. Live, grow, be happy. Good things will come to you." Am I the idiot for kicking my girlfriend out after she ditched me for her coworker's after-party? I and my girlfriend, Anne, began dating in college. Last week, Anne invited me to her coworker Joe's party. I had heard a lot about him in the past, and he and she really seemed to have a lot in common, especially with their taste in music. Apparently, he was an amateur musician with a fairly successful YouTube channel. Joe initially invited only Anne, but when she asked him if I could tag along, he said it was fine. The party was on Saturday evening. It was a fun party with about 30 people, held at a restaurant Joe had rented out. Towards the end, though, I wandered into Anne's little discussion group, and I immediately got the feeling that nobody really wanted me there, most of all Anne. It was her, Joe, and a few other people. Thinking that I was just imagining things, I hung around and listened to Joe basically boast about himself the whole time. A little while later, I wandered off to get myself a drink and chat with a few other people. Eventually, the time to leave came around, and I went to find Anne again. Joe approached me at that point and said that he was having an after-party over at his house. I was going to refuse, but then he said, "Sorry, man, but only Anne is invited," while clapping me on the shoulder. I first told him not to touch me, and then said she's not going. He informed me that she had already accepted the invitation. I texted Anne immediately to ask where she was. She responded, "Sorry, on the way to Joe's place. I'll see you tomorrow, love you." I asked if she knew I wasn't invited, and she then left me on read. Texts after that were all ignored. I drove home furious. I stayed up all night, and finally, Anne walked in the door at 5:42 a.m. I know because I was by the window watching. I recognized the car as Joe's and the driver as Joe. Nobody else was in the car. Anne waved to him cutely and laughed at something he said. Anne came inside and acted surprised to see me still up. At that point, I flatly told her that we were done, and she had the rest of the day to move out. Anne was at first confused with me, and then I told her that she can just move in with Joe. She rolled her eyes and said nothing happened. She gave me this spiel about my insecurities and imagination. I said it didn't matter. After this back and forth arguing, Anne finally relented and sarcastically thanked me for wasting the best years of her life. Anne finally moved out yesterday, and it was pretty dramatic. She said that she loved me and that I was throwing away everything over a party. Did I do her wrong here? I feel like I'm getting gaslighted. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "She left you at a party she invited you to, went to another party without communicating with you, and ghosted you when you messaged her? I am sorry, but she doesn't care or respect you. At least you are no priority, and her colleagues seem to be more important. I would never leave my partner. I came with to a party stranded at a party, and then gaslight him for being angry. Seems you're her safety person, the one who should wait for her and take care of her, and that's it." Another commenter added, "I wouldn't do this to a regular friend neither, let alone a partner with whom you're supposed to be ride or die." Another said, 100%. This is a crap way to treat a friend. Your partner? Seems the I love yous are shallow. Someone else noted, from her comment that she wasted the best years of her life, she is either naive or manipulative. Life does not just go downhill from 23. Another comment was, in her case, it actually might. She threw away her home and relationships to frick a YouTuber with a guitar. Not even a rich one, since they work together. And another person said, even if she didn't sleep with him, she left you at a party without saying goodbye and went to a party she knew you weren't invited to. Doesn't respond to your text, doesn't tell you what's going on, and then tries to downplay your valid feelings. She has no respect for you. You absolutely made the right decision. You deserve better than that. Finally, someone said, yes, this is not an action from someone that loves you. You're worth more, bro. Now for the 12-day update. About 2 weeks ago, I came here for moral guidance after breaking up with and kicking my girlfriend out for going to an after-party with her male coworker, who outwardly stated that I was not invited. Just about everyone in the post was convinced that Anne had cheated on me with Joe. The moment she left, I felt as if I had lost interest in her, Joe, and both of their lives forever. But a couple of days later, morbid curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to find his Instagram through Anne's. I don't know if I was looking for closure or validation for refusing to even discuss the issue with Anne, but I found both. First, a few hours after Joe drove Anne back to my place, he made an Instagram post about potentially doing a cover for Scotty Doesn't Know by Lustra. The comments were full of people saying he was going to hell with laughing, crying emojis and the shushing emoji. I recognized some of the commenters as people who had attended the party. At first, I didn't know what it was about, but after looking up the lyrics, it became clear. Here's the first line of the song. Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. So yeah, class act he is. Catchy song though, but it gets better. I know this wasn't healthy, but I kind of kept up with Anne and Joe's social media. They went full mask off. Another few days later, Joe posted a picture of Anne sitting on his lap. I could tell that based on the sofa he was sitting on, this was not even taken at the after party, but at the party that I went to. I must have been talking to someone else or in the bathroom when it was taken. I will say that I was severely depressed, and on a certain level, probably still am. It wasn't even really about Anne, but that literally nobody from the party was willing to give me a heads up. Anne and I were publicly dating. We showed up together. People knew I was her boyfriend, but I guess when my back was turned, they were laughing at me. The only thing that doesn't make sense to me at this point is why she even wanted to keep me around as a partner. When I kicked her out, she was legitimately upset. Was this a pride issue where she wanted to be the one to dump me? Was it the thrill of screwing around with her coworker behind my back? Or was this some logic that only the human equivalent of a dumpster could understand? I may never know. It doesn't matter anymore. I want to thank everyone who responded to the last post, and I really want to give a special thanks to those who posted or DM'd me with similar experiences. Without exaggeration, I don't know what I'd be doing right now if it weren't for your comments. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, I'd bet $20 bucks that in the near future, the relationship between Joe and Anne will crash and burn. Either Joe gets bored and dump her, or the other way round. Another added, she will cheat on him too. Someone else noted, he will cheat on her. For her, this is all something that is stroking her ego. For him, she's just another conquest to make himself feel in control. And finally, another person said, if that weenie comes at you to make fun of you, brag, or for whatever reason, just tell him congratulations on winning your perceived competition. Enjoy your prize of a cheating woman, and enjoy your leftovers, as crumbs are the only thing he'll ever be able to get. While it's a jerk thing to say, this is in fact the reality of the situation, and it'll drag both him and your ex back down to earth, and show that their actions have no effect on you. He's getting off on making you a cuck, as hinted by the song he wishes to cover. I won't be surprised if he switches Scotty's name with yours or dedicates it to you. Doing this will take away his perceived power over you. Now for a comment from JMBAC. One of my old friends was once in a situation like this and unfortunately bumped into the other guy. Cocky little shoot said something like, sorry about that. Win some, lose some. My friend looked straight at him and said this, I lost a cheating girlfriend. You want a girl that you know is able to cheat and lie to your face. Oh, and tell her to stop emailing me saying that she is sorry and that she thinks of me often. I don't want to block her, but I will. Turned his back to the guy and left. My friend was visibly upset as we walked away, so I don't know where he mustered the calm he had displayed. Though I did laugh out loud when I asked about the emails, and he said it was a lie, just wanted to mess with the guy. The other couple lasted 3 months. Am I the idiot for blocking my married ex-girlfriend after she started calling me daily and then helping her escape her abusive husband? My friends think I'm an AH for blocking my ex, who is married, because she keeps calling and messaging me. I wanted to ask if what I'm doing is right or if I should keep in touch with her. I dated Lisa for 4 years, and we broke up 2 years ago. Lisa told me she didn't see a future with me and wanted to call things off. There were many reasons, and I knew it was coming. Lisa came from a wealthy family, and we met in college. Our relationship was great during the college years. However, after we graduated and got jobs, it became clear to her that I would never be able to provide the lifestyle she was used to. She hated the small apartment we rented because I wanted to pay off my student loan quickly, and she resented that I couldn't afford to take her on nice vacations. It sucked, but I couldn't blame her. I loved Lisa deeply, but I also knew she deserved the life she wanted. After we broke up, we still had lingering feelings and stayed friends for a few months. We had mutual friends and would meet regularly. I never hated Lisa. In fact, I cherish the memories of the 4 years we were together. But I was also acutely aware that we came from different worlds and that she shouldn't have to settle because of me. Still, it was hard to let go completely, and sometimes I wondered if I'd ever truly get over her. We drifted apart after Lisa started dating a family friend. I met him a few times at parties. He knew Lisa and I had dated, and though he was polite, I started avoiding her and focused on work. Eventually, I moved to another city and lost touch with Lisa. I heard from mutual friends that she got married 6 months ago. I wasn't invited to the wedding, but I was happy for her. I also dated someone briefly last year, but right now my career is my main focus. That's what I need to believe. 3 weeks ago, out of the blue, I got a call from an unknown number. It was Lisa. She started with small talk, and we caught up on each other's lives. She told me about the new house she and her husband had just bought and how busy she'd been. I told her about my work and my new life. It was nice, like catching up with an old friend. She gave me her new number, and the call lasted about 20 minutes. Although I found it odd, I figured she might have thought about me and decided to reach out. The next day, she messaged me and sent a few photos of her new house. I complimented her on them. 2 days later, she called me again, saying she was driving and thought about chatting. We talked about my new city, my new friends, and even gossiped about our old mutual friends. Then, she started sending me photos from a recent party where they all met up. Over the next 2 weeks, Lisa began calling me almost every day. I ignored most of her calls, but she always said she had free time and wanted to talk. She started sending me TikToks, memes, and messages, initiating conversations all the time. At first, I brushed it off, thinking she was just being friendly, but it felt wrong. Lisa is married, and I shouldn't be talking to her so frequently. The more she reached out, the more unsettled I became. Was she unhappy in her marriage? Was she just lonely? Or was I reading too much into it? Last Friday, I finally messaged her, saying that it felt inappropriate for us to talk so often, given that she's married now. She replied almost immediately, saying there's nothing wrong with us being good friends, like before. I didn't want to continue, so I told her we needed to stop talking for a while because I needed to focus on work. After that, I blocked her number. She called our mutual friend Jess, crying about how I was rude, and blocked her. Jess told our other friends, and some of them called me, saying I was being unreasonable to treat Lisa that way and cut her off. I don't understand how no one sees that it's wrong for Lisa to call her ex when she's happily married after more than a year of no contact. It doesn't make sense. But maybe I'm the one who's missing something. Am I being unreasonable with Lisa? Or was it right for me to block her for both our sakes? And if I'm right, why do I still feel so conflicted? Now for a few important comments. The comments unanimously said that OP is not the idiot. Now for the 1.5-month update. I had posted a month and a half ago regarding going no contact with my ex-girlfriend Lisa after she tried to rekindle our friendship. Lisa married her husband Jason 6 months ago, and I wanted to respect their marriage and blocked her after I felt we were crossing a line. My friend was very critical of me because I was ignoring her, and most of you agreed that I did the right thing. Things have been really crazy since then, and many of you asked for an update. I wanted to respect Lisa's privacy, but as things settle down, I am again not sure if I am doing the right thing and need advice on my situation. Sorry for the long post, but too many things have happened, and I wanted to get this off my chest. After I blocked Lisa, she called my friend Jess and wanted to talk to me one last time. I initially declined, but finally caved in and told her that it would be the last time we would talk. Lisa called me on Saturday morning and told me that she wanted to talk to me because she needed help and does not know if she can trust anyone. She sounded awful, and I had to calm her down before she told me what was going on. Lisa told me that after we broke up, she met her husband Jason within a few months. Jason asked her out for a date in front of her mom, and her mom insisted that she at least give Jason a chance. Jason was a charmer, and they quickly became official. Jason was everything I was not. He came from a wealthy family and had everything figured out. He took her on all the vacations I could never afford, and Lisa loved this life where she does not have to worry about things like loans, money when she was with me. They had a grand wedding, but Lisa told me that things quickly started going south. One night, she was hanging out with Jason's friends, and one of his college friends started flirting with her and touched her inappropriately. Lisa was shocked and told Jason immediately. Jason was drunk and told Lisa to loosen up and enjoy the party, and did not confront the friend. As months went by, Lisa found proof that Jason and his friends were doing drugs, and Jason had slept with most of his friends' wives, and it was a common thing in their friend group. She suspects it happened during the time they were dating, and also a few times after they were married. She confronted Jason, but he just got mad at her and told her that she is being too uptight. Things got messy, and Lisa told me that there were some instances of physical abuse, though she did not go into too many details. Lisa wanted to leave Jason and told her mom about it. However, her mom told her that it is too early in their marriage, and instead, Lisa should work harder to make Jason happy so that he does not need to look at other women. Lisa never told any of our mutual friends about this because they all loved Jason, mostly because he paid for all the parties, restaurants, etc., and Lisa just felt very lonely and helpless. That is when she got a burner phone and started messaging me on it. She apologized to me for getting me involved in her mess, but asked me if I can buy her a ticket to my city so that she can get far away from Jason and everyone and figure out what to do next. She could not buy the tickets because Jason had access to all her cards and accounts, and she could not trust any of her friends back home because Jason might know about it. I was really angry with the whole situation and agreed to help her. I got the tickets immediately and did not email her any details. I only told her the confirmation numbers when she packed and reached the airport. She flew to my city and is staying in my guest room. As expected, hell broke loose as soon as she called her parents to tell them that she has left Jason and is with me. She told them, and our friends, why she did what she did. However, everyone just thought that we had an affair, and she left Jason for me. Jason was really angry and demanded her to come home or they are done. His parents called her to plead her to come back and talk about things calmly. Her dad refused to talk to her, while her mom flew to my city and we all met and she told her what happened. Her mom was more worried about their reputation than what Lisa went through in the last few months. It was just sickening. Lisa is looking for lawyers to file for a divorce and has refused to talk to Jason since she came here. Jason has not made an attempt to visit her and initially sent her a lot of threatening messages. I feel he was advised not to send any more incriminating messages to her, and the messages from him suddenly stopped and there is radio silence. Lisa is currently living with me for the last month. She has offered to pay me rent, but I have told her to just save up for any legal fees, as it seems her parents might cut her off. Many of our mutual friends still refuse to believe what Jason did, and some feel we were having an affair. Many of them have completely stopped talking to Lisa and me, and even removed us from their socials. Lisa looks like an empty shell of herself. She was the most kind, fun person when we were together. Even though she keeps a brave face, she just bursts into tears randomly. I feel she has still not told me the whole story on what Jason did to her, but I'm just going to be a good friend and give her the space she needs. I honestly am not sure how to feel. Everything happened so suddenly. I never had a time to react and think if what I am doing is right. I don't know how I got in a situation where my married ex is now living with me. I cannot kick her out, and I want to be there to support her in such a horrible time. However, a part of me also does not know if what I am doing is right, as she is still a married woman, and I do not want to be labeled as a homewrecker or a cheater. Any advice would be appreciated. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Just don't sleep with her. Somehow, you'll make everything worse if you do. You're too close to it already." Another commenter added, "Whoa, what a wild ride. Although it seems like you made the right decision in blocking her at first. I'm happy you were able to intervene and support her during her difficult time. It's terrible when people put their reputation before the welfare of others. I'm sending Lisa my best wishes and hoping that everything turns out well for her in the end." Then I responded, "It is just crazy to see Lisa go through so much in the last few months, and no one is standing in her corner. I also hope she finds strength."